So thank you again for having us again for a second year. So Fetch Rewards, for those of you who were here last year for the competition, we were the lucky ones that walked away with the grand prize. So just a little background on the company. We're a 3-year-old startup based out of Madison, Wisconsin. And shockingly, we are not a market research company. I was expecting to hear gasps in the room, but there we go, thank you. We are not a market research company. We actually built a technology for shoppers where really incredibly rich shopper data is merely a byproduct of what we do. So let's start by getting personal and talk about something pretty asinine. Toilet paper. Get my joke? So who here has been in this situation? You're walking down the grocery aisle, you're holding 2-ply Charmin Ultra Soft versus 2-ply Quilted Northern Ultra Strong. What is the difference? Are you just standing there for 2 minutes just debating which one to purchase? What's the price difference? Why is this one different than this one? I'm standing here for literally 5 minutes just trying to pick what the right product is for me. And I'm sure most of you have been through that situation as well. Same with this. I love drinking wine. I have no idea what cheese pairs with my wine most of the time. So I usually am reading through all these signs, trying to figure out what's going on, which cheese is going to be best with my Cabernet Sauvignon for a movie night with Netflix. And then this, I'm sure all the men in the room are crazy about this slide, mostly because of their significant others who stand in this aisle looking for a lipstick that goes well with their pants or whatever the case may be. There's just so much choice in the grocery space, and it's pretty much across the board for retail. There's a lot of choice that we are inundated with, and brands are really in a position where they're competing with whether that's copy or messaging or shopper displays, whatever the case may be. These displays are really just a bombardment on the shopper. So while these shoppers are actually making the decisions in stores, more importantly, what's interesting is, do the retailers know how they're making these decisions in stores? Do the brands know how these decisions are made in the store? So 95% of grocery shopping still takes place in the actual brick and mortar situation. And we'll talk about the 5% of online grocery shopping that's really encroaching in this space, but we're really focused on that 95% that's happening in brick and mortar. And as I mentioned, 50% of these decisions actually happen in the in-store environment. And that's a massive number of decisions that are made for the 95% of shoppers who are shopping in store, yet we really don't have a conclusive way of determining how shoppers make those decisions at the actual aisle, under the fluorescent lights when they're holding these two products in their hand, Quilted Northern Charmin. Why are they choosing what they are? Now let's look at 5% of online grocery shopping, because this is what's really interesting about the online space, and this is why they're actually stealing share from the brick and mortar retailers. They get to build rich consumption profiles of who's entering their store, or online store, if you will. People create profiles, they build rich shopper baskets that you can actually track clicks, you can measure what pages they're moving to and from. So Amazons and Peapods of the world are getting to build these really rich consumption profiles of their user base. In the process, they actually get to personalize their offers on a one-to-one basis, and this doesn't happen in the store currently. So what Kraft mac and cheese might be across the board at a grocery store may not be the case on an Amazon. It could be variable pricing depending on your sensitivity or elasticity for that product. You can also promote across channels. So what you might see, again, I'll use Amazon as an example, what you might see on Amazon might show up again on a different profile or a different website because they're able to cross-promote throughout that shopper journey online. And then finally, and this is a theme that's come up throughout the day today, is using data to really anticipate the shopper before they even go into the store or go online. And that's really where the key is for us. So how do we take what e-commerce is able to do, what online grocery shoppers are able to do, and bring that to the brick and mortar space where really it's been unchanged for the past 50 years. The way you walk into a grocery store today was probably the same as what it was 20 years ago. And really the only innovation that's happened is the barcode technology. So how do we make this a little more intuitive? And so what I want to challenge you all to think about is how do we inspire, engage, and anticipate the shopper journey before they even walk into the store? And so last year when we came into this challenge, we, again, didn't present ourselves as a market research company, but we really are a shopper-first technology. We are a mobile app company based out of Madison, Wisconsin. So I'll walk you through a little bit of why we came about, what we're doing, and what we are doing in this space to bring those benefits of e-commerce and bring them to the brick and mortar space, because that's really where the future is, and that's really where the market potential is for making retailer a lot more engaging, inspiring for these shoppers in grocery. So I'll let you read these stats on the screen, but really we're seeing that shoppers are pulling out their mobile phones already in the grocery space. I'm sure many of you are looking at recipes or coupons or whatever the case may be. You're probably pulling out your smartphone during the shopping experience. So that's already a pretty natural behavior for the brick and mortar retailer. 60% of shoppers already say that they're going to, that they're willing to scan a product in order to learn more about the product or actually get promotions or discounts on that product. And so 2016, this year, is really ripe for disruption in the grocery store, as we're already seeing with companies like Amazon and Peapod and Instacart and Shipt. So there are a number of different companies playing in this space because it is a huge potential for the way of the future in retail. And if you actually look at some of the first comers or first movers in the grocery mobile space, we're actually seeing huge players like Walmart, Target, Ahold, and Kroger all come out with similar mobile technologies. And we're considered one of the top movers alongside those companies, which is really incredible to see. And the reason that is because they see the validation of what we're doing, and they're following suit, and they're actually piloting in a number of their stores. And it just goes to show that there is huge market validation for what Fetch is doing. So the user experience is extremely straightforward, and I know I don't want to sound like we have this crazy, incredible product. It is really just as simple as it is. It's a self-checkout app. So you pull out your smartphone and you walk into a store that has Fetch, and you can scan the products that you want to buy that day. And you can bag as you go, you can put them in your cart. All you're doing is scanning the product and adding it to your cart. And while you're scanning, a number of things happen. One is that shoppers want more access to information as they're shopping through the store, not only from a budgeting standpoint, but also from a shopping list standpoint. So whether they're making their lists at home, they just want to be able to cross off their lists and make sure that they're on a targeted mission, whatever that may be. They get to see their purchase history. So every time they shop with Fetch, they can see, oh, I purchased this brand of Cabernet Sauvignon. I forgot about that. That's awesome. I'm going to buy it again. They can track their nutrition, and that's a really important one for us because we actually partnered with a company out in California called Shopwell, and what that enables us to do is every time a shopper scans a product, they can set up their nutritional profile so that Jeff may be allergic to peanuts and may be gluten intolerant. Every time he scans a product that contains peanuts, our app will actually warn Jeff and say, hey, you might want to put that down, but try this product instead that doesn't contain peanuts. We're enabling the shopper to have much more access to information in the store. The other experience is saving. Obviously, this is a huge one for shoppers, and that's the primary reason we find shoppers use the Fetch app in stores. So not only are they getting coupons automatically applying through our partnership with Inmar, so we feed all the Inmar coupons into our application, but we also personalize coupons based on what shoppers are scanning. As you can imagine, we know exactly how the shopper is moving through the store, in what order they're scanning products, what their purchase history looks like, and we can really now start to personalize their entire shopping experience based on what they're scanning. So these two examples are pretty simple examples of what we've been testing in store. But example, Jeff walks back into the store, scans bagels, Kraft Philly cream cheese might come up and say, hey, why don't you try our brand of cream cheese with your bagels for $1 off? Similarly, Chobani, a shopper might be scanning Chobani, and that happens to be in the protein category. So Planters might say, hey, why don't you try Planters, which will add to your snacking protein diet, and we'll give it to you for $1 off. And so we're really encouraging and inspiring shoppers along their shopper journey to build their basket. Secondly, around saving is basically the ability to incentivize shoppers to scan their products. We wanted to positively reinforce every single scan because, as you can imagine, it's probably not the most intuitive behavior or the most natural behavior in a store. So with every single scan, shoppers actually receive 1% cash back in the form of fetch points. And these points can be redeemed for free product during your checkout. So say you have 10 items in your cart, you're ready to check out, you can actually redeem 2 of those items for free with points. You only end up paying for 8 products. That's a huge amount of saving for these shoppers who are using the Fetch application. So not only is it coupons and discounts on products, you're also getting this 1% cash back in the form of points that enables you to spend it on whatever you want. So these are intrinsically valuable points to you as a shopper. Finally, and this is a little bit of our secret sauce, we developed this patented hardware in-house, and this enables our smartphone app to talk directly to any point-of-sale system that's out in the market right now. And so essentially, it's just a plug-and-play solution. This allows our smartphone, so whenever you're ready to check out, you hit a checkout button on your phone, it'll pop up with this big barcode on the screen, you hand that to the cashier scans that barcode, and you can just pay as you normally would and walk out the door. And this really speeds up the checkout process. And that kind of adds this convenience aspect to the overall Fetch application. And it's incredibly fast turnaround for us to install at the retailers that we work with. So again, a huge benefit for the retailers since they see higher throughput rates. And then we also monitor for shrinkage so that there is no person missing scanning a product, if you will. Retailers love Fetch. So right now we are in 50 retailers across the US and we're growing to 100 by the end of this year. And if you remember us from last year, we were in about 10 retailers. So we are growing incredibly rapidly. And one of the reasons retailers love what we do, it's because we're able to drive basket size in store. As I showed you earlier, through those personalized promotions, we're targeting shoppers based on their history and what might inspire them to build their basket. So we actually do see an increase in basket size in the store, which is quite an amazing achievement for us. We also find that shoppers are more loyal to their stores. So not only they're more valuable and bring more share of wallet to that store, they also happen to shop at that store more often. And we find that that's actually because of our Fetch points currency. People love the idea of getting more points and being able to redeem those points for whatever they want. And it really gamifies the system for them. And that's a great reason for them to come back into the same store, which they may not find at the grocery store down the street. We also find that the demographic of shoppers that we're getting are not your typical millennial shopper that we thought we might be attracting. We actually happen to get a very representative sample of shoppers in that store. So say the average shopper was 45-year-old mom, we actually happen to get the 45-year-old mom using our app at that store, whereas it might be a different subset at a different store. But we get a very representative sample at those stores. And what I want to talk to you about today, and this is why we're at this conference, this is why we won last year, is the power of the data that we're collecting. And I know I was talking primarily about the product that we have, but what's even more intriguing and exciting for us is the data that we collect. So we get all the basics around the age, gender, email, location. That's pretty standard, but what's even more fascinating, as I mentioned, is knowing exactly when a shopper is entering the store, what their list might contain, what they actually might shop for. So we know that Sally might be walking in a store purchasing bread, bananas, and milk. So the fascinating thing is that if we know that's on her list, we might be able to serve her up a recipe for banana bread pudding. And she might walk into the store because she needs to add a couple more ingredients. We could offer her a dollar off Cool Whip because it's part of that recipe that she wasn't originally planning on buying or making. But now that we know she's adding these couple more ingredients to the list, she's going to walk out with a larger basket. And that's a benefit to the brand. That's a benefit to the shopper because Sally's happy. She got a recipe that she wasn't planning on making, but it's based on ingredients in her shopping list. And the retailer's happy because she's spending more at their store. And so that's really the power of Fetch's data, is being able to anticipate Sally before she walks into the store, give her something she might not have expected but is inspired by, and then walk out with bigger savings but a bigger basket, and everyone is happy. So that's what Fetch does. We inspire, we engage, and we anticipate the shopper. And that is truly what builds loyalty for our shoppers in our stores. Thank you.
And your timing was near perfect.
I know.
I didn't have to push you off the stage or anything. So we've got we have time for a few questions. Over here on the right, on your right. We've got a microphone coming.
Hello.
There it goes.
Right, so lovely presentation. Hello. Now my question's because you're making this presentation in IIeX. Just a quick hygiene check. I mean, do you subscribe to codes prescribed by Castro or SMR, etc.?
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question?
So there are different associations of market research,
Yes.
like Castro, like SMR, etc. And they have a set of codes prescribed saying that this is what research constitutes. Does your organization subscribe to those?
That's definitely an opportunity for us down the road. Right now, we're working with brand partners and retail partners to really prescribe what is the power of our insights and the data that we're doing and the research technique. So if I'm answering your question correctly and hearing you correctly, is there an opportunity to work with kind of overarching?
My question was slightly different.
Okay.
Since this is a market research presentation that you're making, and the fact that it seemed like good data collection and other things that you're doing, are these within the norms of what SMR or Castro prescribe to how it should be?
I can't speak to that, but I'll definitely follow up with you and see if that it is. I am actually not too familiar with it, so thank you. It's a good question.
Okay, other questions? Right here in the middle. Who's going to get there first? We've got two microphones coming right at you.
It's just a quick question on the advantage of loyalty you mentioned. What if, and I wish it, what if this company becomes a huge success and every supermarket integrates it like they have scanners now? Then that falls away.
The scanning technology
No,
falls
the
away?
loyalty, because then the switching behavior comes again, so they won't have to stick to one supermarket to get the Fetch rewards.
That's a great question, and that's pretty much our vision, is to be at your local independent supermarket, but then to also be at your Ace Hardware or your Petco, be able to pull up the same Fetch app, use it across all of those different channels or different retail verticals, and develop the loyalty aspect or the points, the program, or the discounts through the same app. And that doesn't preclude us from working across different banners or across different retail verticals. If anything, it makes the Fetch app even more of a loyalty driver, because similar to how Uber users can be in Atlanta, pull up their Uber app and hail an Uber, but go to San Francisco, pull up the same app and use an Uber there. That's precisely where we want to be. We want to be able to allow shoppers to pull up the Fetch app across a number of different retail verticals and get the rewards and build the loyalty to those stores because of what we're able to offer them.
Okay, and one, if I just may add on to that, has there ever any time been a thought to partner with a credit card company that shoppers even could at the exit actually have paid by 2 clicks, and you can merge your data with a credit card company to go wider?
Absolutely. It's certainly on our roadmap for this year and next year to work with a mobile payment solution.
And we have time for one more. We've got one back behind you. Back behind you. Raise your hand. Jump up and down. Sing a song.
I think this concept is absolutely fantastic. It's really digitizing like the brick and mortar store and probably prolonging the life of brick and mortar. I would anticipate that another like pain point potentially to solve would be, actually being in a store and understanding where in the store can you locate a product, right?
Yes.
Like, that's something that, is a barrier to going to a store. Why wouldn't I just go online and actually search for it? Is that something that you guys are planning to integrate into your system?
Surely, and yes, yes, wayfinding in a store is definitely a pain point that we've found in our shoppers. And one of the ways that we're working on doing that is actually implementing planogram APIs that work with the retailers. So since our retailers are not your typical Kroger's or Walmart's or Target's, they're actually your small to medium-sized businesses like your mom and pops or your 250 store chain. So those kinds of retailers may or may not have planogram detail available to them, but there are different ways that we can go about helping shoppers wayfind through the stores, and that is also on our roadmap.
That's
Great.
awesome.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.